Hey, what's up, SEO pros? Big news! I recently discovered SEO Nitro, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. In just days, I saw incredible results that blew my mind. With SEO Nitro, you can get links from thousands of different C-block IPs, the most powerful links at a fraction of the cost. The patented software lets you control your entire backlink profile in minutes. Add, remove, and change links at any time. Protect your site from Google's changes with SEO Nitro's revolutionary backlinking software. Imagine having the power to have laser-targeted themed backlinks, automated link spinning, set it and forget it. Thousands of stellar sites and manual and automated posting options. SEO Nitro is the ultimate SEO weapon. Head on to SEONitro.com now to revolutionize your SEO game. Don't miss out on page one. It's just click away. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show. Today we have our very special guest, Gregory Ortiz, which is a great follow-up episode from last week's. Because last week we talked about client prospecting and selling. Now we have client retention and systems. So these two back-to-back episodes should be great tips to help you grow your business, your SEO business. Again, if you're just tuning in, we have Gregory Ortiz, and we'll be talking about client retention and systems. I see a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. Lucy. Hi, Dre. Hi, Lucy. Stefan, my man, was here a little bit earlier. What's up, Stefan, brother? Hannah Becker, hello. Logan, what's up? All right, guys, we got about 8.5 more minutes to go. We have Gregory Ortiz coming on today. He's the founder of Digital Rooftop, and we'll be talking about client retention and systems. I met Gregory at the SEO Spring Training Conference, SEO Spring Training 2024. It was a great conference, which the video will be out. Well, I have a recap, kind of a recap video coming out soon. I shot the thing in RAW, so I have to convert all the videos and then add them into my production. So, lesson learned, I have to make sure I just shoot in regular mode next time. But yeah, anyways, we got SEO in 2024 book. I've actually found a couple copies on my bookshelf. I still have a couple more copies left to give away. If you want a copy of the SEO in 2024 book, shoot me an email with your address at dre@seo.video, and be sure that you are in the continental United States, because if I ship it overseas, it just costs way too much. How's everyone doing out there? It's a little quiet. I see a few of you on already. Let's see here. I know it's a weekend, right? It's a holiday weekend. It's Memorial Day Monday, so it's a 3-day weekend for a bunch of people here in the United States. Oh yeah. If you have any questions about client retention and systems, get them ready, because Gregory Ortiz is going to school us on this client retention and systems. Kobe says, happy Friday. Happy Friday, Kobe. I see Greg calling in right now. Gregory, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Okay, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, I'm connecting the right camera.
Okay.
Two different cameras. Yeah.
All right. We got Gregory in the back. So right now, I'm just going to sing what's up to everyone in the live chat, and we'll go over a few videos in the very, very beginning, and then I'll introduce you in about 8 minutes after the hour. But for now, we're just saying what's up to everyone in the live chat.
Awesome. Cool. Hello, everyone.
There we go. What's up, everyone? Be sure to say hi. And let me know where you're watching from. Oh, yeah.
Just move this to my other screen. There we go. Right. Now I can look straight on.
There we go. Kenneth says, hey, what's up, guys? Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? Any plans for this holiday weekend?
No plans in particular. Just really hanging out, doing stuff in the backyard, grilling, just relaxing. Yeah. How about yourself?
Same here. I mean, I have a pool and everything. I don't get to go in it as much as I like to, so I want to just hop in there.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
All right, guys. I see a bunch of you out there already. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. We got about 5 more minutes to go. And if you're just tuning in, we got Gregory Ortiz in the back, and we'll be talking about client retention and systems. Ernesto says, yo, yo, yo. What's up, Ernesto?
Hey, Ernesto. How's it going? Trey, give me 1 second. I'm going to go grab some water real quick.
Oh, yeah, of course. Fletcher says, hello. If you're just tuning in, we got Gregory Ortiz in the back, and we'll be talking about client retention and systems. I met Gregory at the SEO Spring Training Conference this past couple months ago in Scottsdale, Arizona, which was a great conference, by the way. Be sure to check it out for 2025. I believe they may have some pre-sales up on the website, so just go to seospringtraining.com to check that out. The next conference I'll be at will be at SEO Rockstars. So Rockstars will be in November in Las Vegas. So that's actually a really great conference. I've actually attended the online version like all these years, but never went to a actual in-person one. So looking forward to the in-person SEO Rockstars coming in Las Vegas in November, right? And I believe, Gregory, you're actually going to be speaking there, right?
Yeah, I'll be speaking at that event too. I'm super excited. Can't wait to see you there. It's gonna be great.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows it's a party. Let's go. Let's see. We got about 3.5 more minutes to go. Gregory Ortiz just came back online, and we'll be talking about client retention and systems. So be sure to get your questions ready, and we'll learn about all his SEO journey, a little bit more about how he got into SEO and his whole story. So be sure to hang out and learn. Let's see here. So again, guys, if you watched last week, this is a great back-to-back episode. So last week we learned how to prospect and sell, and now it's going to be about client retention and systems. So be sure to get your notebooks out and watch both episodes back-to-back. It's some great stuff. Hey, Gregory, looking forward to your talk. Victor, what's up, Victor?
Hey, what's up, Victor? How's it going? Thanks for joining us today.
Oh yeah. Is that so? Do you have actually? Is Digital Rooftop? That's your agency? Is that?
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm guessing, are you working with roofers, or is it just?
No.
Okay.
No. It primarily stems from me and a buddy of mine years ago. We had a concept on like what we were going to do in life later on. So for me, a lot of business ideas that I had, I spoke to him about. A bunch of them came to fruition, and that whole conversation took place on a rooftop.
Oh,
so to me,
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome just thinking back on it. It all took place on a rooftop, and because of that, and obviously everything I do is digital, I just put the two of them together. You would think I would target primarily roofers.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. I was like, all right, I know. All right, is it SEO that's niching down?
When I speak to roofers.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Whenever I would speak to a roofer, for sure, yeah. But it's just because of where everything was conceptualized of me just like verbalizing to someone else what I wanted to do in life and business. Obviously, it wasn't SEO at the time because I didn't know about it, but a lot of stuff that I wanted to come true have. So it's just an ode to that, essentially. Nice. Maddox says, what's up, Greg and Dre? Hey, what's up, Maddox? How's it going?
All right, guys, we got about 1 more minute to go. We have Gregory Ortiz in the back, and we'll be talking about client retentions and systems. So, Gregory, I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute right now and just get all my things ready, and I'll introduce you in about, again, 6 to 8 minutes after the hour, right when I'm done, like kind of talking about some of the videos that were released this past week. Sound good?
Sounds good. Perfect.
All right, brother. I'll see you in about 6 to 8 minutes. Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, we have Gregory Ortiz in the back, and we'll be talking about client retention and systems. So be sure to get your questions ready. This is a great back-to-back episode from last week where we talked about selling and prospecting. So be sure to get your notebooks out and get your questions ready.
Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released within the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the founder of Digital Rooftop, Gregory Ortiz. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Maddox, Victor, Fletcher, Nesto, Kenneth, Kobe, Lucy, Logan, Hannah, Stefan. What's up, everyone? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, what's the optimum view for an SEO? Page view. Get it? Page view.
Google posted the Search Off the Record podcast. In the Search Off the Record podcast, John and Lizzi invite Michael Chidzey and Juliana Turnbull to talk all about things on the SEO Office Hours. Listening along to us discuss why they picked this format, whether a community building impacts SEO, and how you can learn to get involved in growing your own community with SEO practitioners. Growing an in-person community, an event, is something I've also actually been looking into, so if you're in the Bay Area, stay tuned. Google now shows Reddit upvotes and comments. Let's check out the news on Rusty Rick.
But he had seen that with those Reddit SERP listings, there is now the upvote icon and comments icon. And then some of the comments are even broken out underneath the SERP. So I'd imagine some of the SEOs that really despise Reddit will actually really despise it even more because it's much more visual. I do, though, I'm going to put on the hat of the searcher here. I think this is something helpful, right? Like if we are going to be getting all of this Reddit content, and even if it's forums, right, within the new forums and whatever it used to be, perspectives, and now it's forums and discussions. Sometimes you would hit one of those Reddit posts and there was like no content on here. And it was, maybe like 3 comments and 17 upvotes. I think that was like, there were like 17 upvotes for that one that was the SERP where somebody typed in how to lose weight quickly and it was going to some, weight loss drug.
I've been advocating for Reddit before the current partnership with Google. I even talk about it here in the SEO 2024 book on how you can optimize your Reddit posts. Okay, if you're not active on Reddit, it's time for you and your client to actually create an account and start posting. I mean, personally, I've been buying up some Reddit accounts with Karma to gain access to posting content with links. And I've mentioned in the past, I've actually been doing a lot of persona building, and like I used Reddit as one of my properties to building one of my personas, or well, a few of my personas. All right, standing out in interviews for an SEO position by George Sutherland. Let's check this one out.
Practice makes perfect with interviews. You're always going to have good ones. You're always going to have bad ones. Don't let the bad ones switch you off. Accept as many interviews as you can. Interview with businesses that you're unsure about, because you can find out things that you may not have known from their website or from whichever recruiter spoke to you at the time. When it comes to how you act in those interviews, how you answer questions, it's very much based on the requirements that you're looking to fill. It's a real tough one. And that's why I say practice makes perfect, because each interview is going to be unique. Not every manager is going to be looking for an identical candidate. The interview you ace, you might apply method A to the last interview you had and it was amazing, and apply that same kind of method to your next interview and it completely fall over. I think it's important to remember on both sides, as a candidate and a client, that you're dealing with people. People are not binary. People have good days, they have bad days. You have good interviews, you have bad interviews.
I've been on hundreds of interviews, and one tip I can give you is to create your 3-minute career story pitch and practice it. I mean, apply to many job postings as you can, not only the companies that you want to work for. And be sure to always over-deliver in your late stage interviews, because I talk more about this in my recent episode yesterday on GMB Pros. So be sure to check out Alfredo Delgado's GMB Pros episode yesterday to learn more about climbing the corporate ladder as an SEO. Okay. Which type of content helped most for a brand SERP? Let's check this one out.
The type of content, and this is where my story can come in. Within a year, that first 52 weeks of posting videos on YouTube, I was getting 80% of my clients directly from YouTube. They would contact me on my website where I was driving them to, and they would say, saw a YouTube video, liked how you think, I liked what you were saying in X video, I want to do business with you. And so all of that heavy lifting of proving my knowledge and my expertise was already done for me by the content that I put out. And when they got to me, they'd already seen me, heard me, knew they liked my personality, and knew that I knew what I was talking about. So most of that work had already been done. And that was done through video. Google owns YouTube. Google is the largest search engine in the world. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And so video, in my opinion, is the number one form of content that a brand, an individual can use to elevate them in search. Because when you search a person's name or a subject, what pops up is their name, their website, and then immediately Google always has like a series of 3 videos on the topic underneath it. And those videos can very well be you.
Video content has been my go-to in building my own brand. I mean, video helps take up a lot more real estate on page 1, just like how he was talking about. You get those 3 video carousels pop out when you do searches for certain types, especially a lot of how-to videos. If you want my video SEO checklist, be sure to check out the link in the description. Do you know who has created his own brand? My guest today, which brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions on the topic and I will address them in the order that they are received. But before we introduce our guest, here's a word from our sponsor. Struggling to get high authority backlinks? My buddy Ferry has a perfect solution for you.
How much do you think this digital PR campaign is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Watch as we hijack the news with Taylor Swift and Barbie to get you the links. Now we can take this data set from ONS and paste it right into your emails to get you the links. Now how much do you think this campaign is worth? Don't answer. Wait until you see Bloomberg, BBC, Forbes, top tier national and regional news outlets. Reactive PR, data PR, expert commentary, over 70 team members at your disposal. This product is so hot I need a fan! And then listen to what campaigns we do at no extra charge. Gain character wages, bananas and sleep, best dates for dogs, luckiest UK areas, and many more. All for just how much did you guess? 10,000? 20,000? Even more? No! It's just £5,500. That's right. It's 5.5 grand. It's an incredible value, but it's true. It's digital PR from Search Intelligence. Order today. PO Box searchintelligence.co.uk. Except B2B clients.
Gregory started learning SEO in 2014 when he was a Bed Bath Beyond manager. He has taught thousands of others how to do SEO these last 10 years. And in 2016, he began helping others scale their agencies and pinpointing issues within them. He is successfully getting over 800,000 different page 1 rankings on Google.com. He is an SEO speaker, entrepreneur. Please welcome Gregory Ortiz.
Gregory. There you go. What's up, my man?
Hey, how's it going? That was an epic intro. Thank you so much.
Yeah, everyone, let's give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Gregory, I'm going to get right into it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here in 1 minute or less. How does Gregory get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Oh, that's easy. For me, it's mostly PBNs more than anything else. I focus almost all my entire efforts on PBNs. That would be the best way for me to sum it up in under a minute, to be honest. Mostly PBNs.
Love it. First knowledge bomb of today. Let me rewind this real quick. Hold on. Take us back, way back to 2014. How'd you first get into SEO?
Oh, man. So at the time, I was working at Bed Bath & Beyond. And while I was working there, I was, unfortunately, at the time, I was living in New York City. So the only real method of transportation was hopping on a train, which was an hour train ride to work and an hour train ride back. And I was working anywhere from 50 to 60 hours and also the travel time. So with that combined, my son was 3 years old at that specific time, and I wasn't really seeing him much. And for me, it was a huge deal, like it should be for most fathers. But for me, it was an even bigger deal because I didn't really have a father figure growing up. And I wanted to make sure that I was always there for my son. And it got to a point where I just kept hearing day after day, my son's name is Mason. I kept hearing, Mason did this today. Mason did this today. Oh, guess what happened today? Mason did this. And I was missing like all of these things. And it wasn't what I had envisioned before we actually had my child. So for me, it was super important to figure out a way where I could work from home. And obviously since the pandemic, working from home, so many people have done now. Yeah. But it was super rare back in 2014 for someone to be working at home. So I wanted to go ahead and just make that change. So I ended up doing some research online, trying to figure out how to work from home. I came across first, it was Pat Flynn. He had a blog post where he actually interviewed Alex Becker, which I found pretty interesting. I went to Becker's YouTube channel through it, thought he was crazy and hilarious. And then I wanted to follow him more. And it just so happens to be that very same night, it's like it was fate. It's kind of crazy every time I think about it. But that very same night, he was having a webinar where he was introducing a group where he learned SEO from. I went ahead, watched that interview. And for me, it was super important to not only be on that webinar and hear all these people give testimonials, but it gave me that spark to say, this is it. Like, I need to do this and try it. So I went ahead, took the only emergency credit card that me and my then at the time wife had, and went ahead, charged on the credit card, kept it a secret because I'm like, she's going to kill me, but I need to make this happen. So I had all the motivation of not only just the fear of I need to make this work because it's on an emergency credit card, but also I need to make this work because I want to stay home for my son. And that's where I learned SEO, and that's kind of how everything kicked off for me.
Love that. And this course, what was this course or was this seminar? How much was it cost back then?
Yeah, so it was $5,000 a year was what it cost. And it was broken down to 12 payments of $499. And for me, it was a huge deal because at the time I was only making $62,000 a year. So when you combine that with having a child and having a stay-at-home wife and paying rent in New York City, especially in a nice neighborhood that we lived in, I was literally living paycheck to paycheck. So it was a huge deal. I mean, it is still a huge deal when you think about how much it is monthly. Yeah. But even then, it was like overbearing. And I said to myself, I need to make something happen in those first 2-3 months. And thankfully, I did. Things worked out.
Love that. And is that course or mastermind still around? Is it something is it gone?
No, so it's so that group is no longer the same group that I had joined back then is no longer together. There's a different variation of the group that I'm thankfully now a part of. And it's called OMG Academy, and in there me and my partners, we still teach people how to do and how to learn SEO and all that other kind of stuff. But registration's closed currently. We really only open like once or twice a year, but it's not the same as it was before. Okay. So OMG Academy, that's something that you've it's pretty much a course where other people can join. And it's kind of like a course that people can enroll in, and you have a bunch of like meetings weekly and stuff like that. Is that how it worked? Yeah, pretty much. That's a good way to sum it up. Yeah, it's mostly like It's mostly one of those courses where you're watching a bunch of training videos that we've already recorded
Okay.
on how to do this and how to do that. And then every month there are webinars for Q&A. There's also a Facebook group to ask questions as well and everything else like that. But my main focus with that group anyway now is we have an AI product, and I actually run and lead that entire AI portion of the product. So for that is what I'm extremely focused on nowadays more than anything else.
Love that. And take us even more to your current like the businesses that you're running now. You have this you have this academy, and you have your digital rooftop, which you're telling me story on before we started. Please tell us like your journey right now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking. So for the past 10 years, I've thankfully had my agency, which is Digital Rooftop. It didn't officially become Digital Rooftop till about 9 years ago, because for the first year, like most business owners, you don't know what the hell you're doing. So you don't incorporate and everything right at the beginning. But for the last 9 years, I've had Digital Rooftop, and it's been my agency. And, we've helped not only just at this point, hundreds of different clients through various facets, whether it be them hiring us directly or us doing white label for other people in the industry. But more importantly, I've also done a lot of consulting. Over the years, for me, it's something I fell into. I didn't get into this field to really jump into the educational side. It's just something that kind of ended up working its way on one fateful day when I met Alex Becker back in 2014 at a bar, funny enough. And because of that experience and me joining forces with him and starting the whole educational side with him, it's just something that I really grew into realizing, like, I love teaching this. I love the effect that it has on helping other people grow, or people who aren't even doing this, getting into it and changing their lives the way my life was changed. So for me, it's just been something that's been super important. So on the educational side, along with my agency, I do go into other agencies and help them whenever they're running into specific issues. So for example, there are some agencies that have client retention issues, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. I'll help them with that side of things, and with as far as consulting goes. There are also others who have systems and processing issues in their agency as they're getting things started up, or maybe like a lot of owners, they have a successful agency, but now it's scaling so quickly, they can't really keep up with the momentum. They don't know what to do. They'll go ahead and speak to someone like myself and hire us for consulting, where we go in and say, hey, these are great. You might need to rethink this, and just kind of just fine tuning it, because every agency is obviously going to be different. They're going to have different issues. Like every client will be a little bit different, but there's a lot of similarities amongst all of them.
Love that. You talked about education and like your knowledge, and I see a few books behind you right there. I mean, if there's one book behind you out there for us for you to recommend, what would that book be?
Probably $100 Million Offers from Alex Hormozi. That one, marketing wise for me, was extremely helpful. Another one that actually was great for me financially was Profit First. That actually changed my whole frame of mind on how I dealt with things financially in the business. It was recommended to me by a friend, I want to say late 2019. So I had already been in business for 5 years and was doing really well. And reading that book just changed the way I did everything financially. So that one was super impactful for me, finance-wise. And then if I had to say just overall business-wise, probably Eat That Frog.
Oh man, I haven't heard that one.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's something that helps people who have issues, kind of like, not getting to something right away. Like if you have the personality where you can kind of push things off a little bit, and you don't necessarily want to get into, you're just going ahead and fucking off every now and then. Like for me, it had got to a point one year where I was just so comfortable and everything was running just on its own. My employees were doing their own thing. Money was flowing in. You kind of get comfortable. You sit back and you relax sometimes. And that book helped me kind of figure out that that's not the right way to go about things. And here's how to fix that issue. So for me personally, it was super helpful in business overall.
Excellent!
Love that, guys. Be sure to check that out. Profit First and Eat That Frog. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you know about the $100 million offers there, right? So that's the other one. So be sure to check that out. So let's get into our topic of today. What we're just talking about a little bit more. I mean, can you kind of start telling us a little bit more about your background on how you got into the client retention and consulting for agencies?
Yeah, sure. So it kind of went hand in hand when I first started teaching people how to just get into SEO and start their own SEO agency years ago. And I would have many people who would just straight up say to me while taking the course, hey, Gregory, I love all the info, but I don't I don't fully understand and comprehend it. It just doesn't vibe or work well with my brain specifically, or I don't have the time for this. So both of those sets of people, it almost always became a scenario where they were like, can I pay you to help me get this up and going? So at first I was very apprehensive because it was a thing where I was like, no, I just want to like teach you guys how to do it. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. The same way, like when you go to, let's say, a college, right? If you go in there and you want to learn something, you realize it's not for you, you just take a different class and go a different way or a different career path.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at things. But there were plenty of people who were like, no, this is what I want to do. Just my strength happens to not be at, you know, building the agency or scaling the agency or keeping the clients. So there were many different issues that I was noticing that people would speak to me about, but they all had the same things in common. Many of them wanted to go ahead and leverage marketing, but they didn't know how to get the agency side going and flowing the way that it should. So eventually it got to a point where I was open to it because there was a gentleman who made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And he offered me a decent amount of money where I was like, I'd just be stupid to say no. So I went ahead, helped him with consulting. And with me doing consulting for him, I learned a couple of issues that he had within his specific agency, and we were able to fix them. And for me, it was really rewarding to see it because I initially was thinking, oh, you know, this guy wants help with his agency, blah, blah, blah. But then I wasn't really realizing within his agency, there's other lives, there's other employees, and they all have families beyond his own family. So that's kind of my jam when it comes to everything in general. I'm always trying to help people provide for their families. That's why, like I mentioned, I got into the educational side. So then it really clicked for me where I said, oh, wow, this is something where I can have an impact, not just on this guy and his like agency, but his agency is actually the people he employs and the lives of the business owners he's going to help, you know, get them marketing and get everything else going for them within their business and scaling them. So then it became a passion of mine where every time I'd get additional offers, I'd be open for it, obviously, if it made sense. But it grew to a point where there were people who were friends with other people who had large agencies, and they would keep recommending me. So I was within the same circle of a whole bunch of different agency owners that happened to know each other, that all needed help. And it was just became a thing where they would consult with me, and I just helped them fix a lot of issues. There were, once again, some had more commonalities than others, but that's how I kind of got into it, to answer your question.
Love that. So like, you just talk about commonalities. Like, what were some of these common problems and patterns that you're actually seeing within these agencies?
Yeah, so actually, I'm just looking at my other screen here because I kind of figured you may ask something similar because I want to pull up notes from my presentation when I spoke about this. And there were 5 specific questions that, not questions rather, but 5 specific reasons that most business owners thought something was going wrong in their agency. And it was either their systems and processes, they weren't following up enough with the client, they weren't getting enough results, they had crappy onboarding, or that their clients just randomly quit. And I noticed across the board, that's what almost all of them thought. In one way, shape, or form, that's how they phrased it. Those 5 core issues, you could call them, of what they thought it was. And after digging in, like I ended up realizing, yes, some of those are the issues straight up across the board. And some of them are literally every single agency, but they're not always the biggest issue. It's kind of like that 80-20 rule, right? Like, it's like, okay, these are issues you have, but they're only causing 20% of the pain. We got to figure out what's causing that other 80%. And for most of them, it actually was client retention. And the reason why they were having so many different client retention issues also varied kind of among each and every agency. And for me, through helping each of them, I came up with this system of being able to provide for your clients and being able to over deliver for your clients, but more importantly, to keep them informed. Because for me personally, I felt like the biggest reason they were losing their clients is their clients have no idea what we do, right? Like they think what we do is some black magic voodoo. It doesn't, they can't understand it because it's not tangible. It's not like most businesses where like, if I had an electrician come into my house, he fixes something in my house, I can flick a switch and I see it's on, it works. If I need a plumber comes over, you know, the pipe is no longer bursting all over the place. If I need my lawn mowed, my lawn goes from being tall grass to short grass. Like those are all things most people are used to. In our industry, it's vastly different when it comes to marketing and advertising. So it became a thing where I realized, oh, I understand. It kind of boils back to education. Most of these clients don't understand why it takes so long to get certain results. Like you can tell them, hey, it's going to take anywhere from 1 month to 3 months to start seeing some of the clients coming in. And most of them will say, okay. In their back of their mind, though, they actually think it's going to happen much sooner, and they don't understand that. So me noticing that and bringing in other systems and processes to these agencies, we were able to help them a lot when it came to client retention specifically.
Love that. Okay, can we go review those five reasons again, so we can kind of maybe do a little quick deep dive into one of those. So what was the first one again that you mentioned?
Yeah, sure. So I asked them. So I pretty much asked them to choose between these 5 reasons. It ended up growing to 5 because I kept hearing them, and it was systems and processes, not enough follow up, not getting results, poor onboarding, or the client just randomly quit.
Okay.
Now, we all get those every now and then of a client just randomly quitting, but you'd be surprised how many agencies think their clients just randomly quit.
I'm curious with why would that happen? Client just randomly just ghosts and just stops paying and just stops talking to them. Is that what usually happens?
Yeah, so it'll always happen to most agencies where you'll have a client where they quit and you don't understand why. It's not so much them ghosting you. I've never had an issue with a client ghosting me, thankfully. I've never heard of a client ghosting an agency, which, I mean, I'm sure it's happened to someone somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, it's more along the lines of they quit and you don't really understand why. Because in your mind, it's like, well, I got you ranked to page 1.
Yeah.
I performed everything that I said I was going to perform,
Yep.
and you're quitting. I don't understand. To them, it's randomly. The client's randomly quitting. They just don't understand why.
Got that. So I'm curious now, like how from those 5 different causes, like, do you have like a checklist or questions that you ask to figure out whether, what the reason is why they're like, their churn is up?
Yeah, so this is actually the 5 questions I asked them. I tell them these 5 potential reasons. I asked them to tell me if they had to weight it from 1 to 10. Go ahead and give me a 1 to 10 on each one of them. And they would let me know what their biggest pain point was. And overwhelmingly, most of them thought their client randomly quit services, which was pretty interesting to me. And I'm referring to the last 100 agencies that I've helped. I've helped more than 100, but for this particular example, I've compiled the data of the last 100 and put that data together. And it was 88% of them actually who believed their client randomly quit services. Like they're like, oh, we're getting results. We're getting results. We don't understand why our clients leave. We have great onboarding. We have a great team. We have this, we have that. Most agency owners, honestly, when you're coming in to fix problems, they're going to make it seem like everything is perfect at home, right? They just don't understand why clients are leaving. But most of them, for the most part, thought their clients were just randomly quitting, unfortunately.
Got it. Okay, let's go into like process and systems, like your implementation of like kind of like correcting some of these problems. I mean, can you walk us through like the process you use to help agencies improve their client retention rates?
Yeah, sure. So before even getting into that, I first had to figure out what the issues actually are, right? Before I can even implement a process to them, I have to figure out like, hey, what is the actual issue? Like if 88% of you think the clients are randomly quitting, first, is that reality? If so, how do we fix that? And second, if it's not reality, what is the actual issue? So I would then spend typically around 30 days in their agency, speaking to their employees, going ahead and going over some communication between current clients, seeing feedback and email chains between past clients, for me just to figure out and to get a good feel on how things are going. Because the only way for me to actually know is based on the communication they've had together. Because if the results are there, that's something that's undeniable. I can't argue you guys didn't get them where you promised them. If you got them where you promised them, I need to see what made them kind of have this interaction. And you'll kind of see like the clients who actually do end up quitting randomly because they don't understand what's happening. Those are typically the clients that never reply back emails to you. They never get back to you on information you send them. They're just horrible at communication. So they obviously don't understand what's going on. So just digging into it, I end up coming to the realization that it was actually 42% of the reason was there wasn't enough follow-up. And by not enough follow-up, I mean, they would only communicate with the client at the end of the month for reporting. So they would let the whole month pass. And at the end of the month, say, hey, guys, here's your fancy, colorful, nice-looking report on how we went ahead and ranked you for the month. Or here's the traffic results for the month. Sorry, Andre, you going to say something?
Oh, no, I was going to say, you just gave me a great tip right there, because I'm one of those people that do that. I'm like,
Gotcha.
I'm like, oh man, I better stop just doing one follow-ups a month. But
it's extremely common across our whole industry. So a lot of clients, they're just used to it. But for me, it's all about like always setting yourself apart from your competitors, right? Like what can you do differently, and figuring out like why clients leave. Because if you're giving them the report at the end of the month for that day 1 through day 30 of where they last paid you, they have no idea, like I mentioned, what the hell's going on. It's just black magic. They're just every single day to them, their reality is just based on, is my phone ringing today? And you can have like a whole week of phones ringing off the hook. But the minute you have 2 days of no calls coming in, hey, what the hell's going on? Or they won't even pick up and call you. They'll just stew in their own mind thinking, oh, I'm paying this person and this marketing company and stuff's not getting done, blah, 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 blah. So you always want to know like what they're thinking of what their state of their business is. Because at the end of the day, like it's our responsibility, if we're going to take them on as a paying client, to make sure their business is where they want it to be as well. And obviously that's why you have your onboarding call and expectations and all that set aside. But there wasn't actually enough follow-up. Like there was a decent percentage, around 1/5 of them had poor onboarding. That's pretty easy to fix. With onboarding, it's pretty easy to fix. It's just about making sure that you have the right communication at the beginning, you're getting back to them quickly. Those are pretty easy to fix. Also, a little bit more than 1/5 of them, it was poor systems. For me, that's pretty easy to fix. The only reason I say for me it's pretty easy is because prior to working at Bed Bath & Beyond, I was an operations manager at H&M. There were only 4 of us in the world. So I was really specialized in systems and running multi-million-dollar stores. We each had our own individual stores that were, $50+ million. So you have to come across all these different systems in those particular stores. Because of that, I translate a lot of systems into what I do every single day. So those systems were easy, but the not enough follow-up, like I mentioned with 42%, that happens to be the biggest issue. So then it became a thing where it's like, okay, if they're having this as one of almost half of all the issues is not enough follow-up, how do we fix it? So for me, I like to just over communicate to all of the clients. And I actually read a book that actually came out last year, which I was already doing this for a couple of years, but that book, reading it last year, kind of helped amplify my thought process. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. And that's actually a book I have right here, the yellow one. And that book in particular, it's the story of a gentleman who he happened to be a manager in the restaurant industry. And he ended up becoming a manager for one of the biggest restaurants in all of New York City. He also paired up with one of the biggest chefs, but it's his whole entire journey on how he changed everyone's concept and thinking of giving people service and hospitality. For him, it was always about just 100% over delivering and giving everyone everything they could. Like a good example he gives in the beginning is, and of course I'm probably dating myself now because I don't even know if these still exist, at least I haven't seen in a while, but back in the day in New York City, there used to be the meters that was just one pole sticking out and you would throw a quarter in there. I know nowadays there's another meter where you can pay through your phone now and everything, but back in the day you would have to throw a quarter in and turn it and keep it going. What he said is when customers would come into the restaurant, the person at the front desk would ask them, hey, can I have your license plate number and where did you park? And they would go ahead and throw a quarter in every half an hour to make sure the guests didn't feel rushed. And small things like that ended up having an effect where the customer would then tell their friends and then tell their friends. So it ends up becoming a thing where, hey, this restaurant's different. They're offering hospitality outside of what everyone else is doing. And for me, that's something that I wanted to translate across all these agencies. And for me, it was super important as well. So for me, that's really what I dug into first. And I can get into that too if you like. How I did that.
Love that. Yes, please do. Wow, that was great. Some great tips and knowledge, dropping some great knowledge bombs right there. But yes, please keep going.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure too. And if at any point you need to interrupt me, because I can just ramble about this.
No. I'm observing this.
Make sure if you have questions, I don't want to.
I want to drop more bombs, but I don't want to interrupt you because I don't want to get too distracting. But I'll drop a good bomb right when you're done. But yeah, please keep going.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So the first thing I did was I wanted to take everyone's mind frame and thought process off of just having someone that's like in charge of an account and make it feel something sexy for not just the customer, but also the person in charge of it. So what I implemented was something called a customer success manager. Now it's just a fancy way of saying, hey, this is the person that's your customer service representative, right? But it makes it feel in a way to the client and also to the person that's doing it as this is something important. And what ends up happening is, based on each client success manager, after years of me doing management myself, I can kind of tell how many different clients they can balance. So everyone in your own agency, it's going to be a little different. But whoever the person assigned is, if you feel like they can handle 3 to 4 different clients, then let them handle the 3 to 4 different clients. And their entire role is over communicating. I don't mean just communicating. I mean over communicating with the client. And I know some people are going to say, what if the client gets annoyed? What if the client gets bothered? It almost never happens. And when it does happen, then you just straight up let the client know, oh, okay, no problem. We'll communicate with you less. We just like to make everyone informed. And some of them are polite about it. None of them are going to be actual dicks about it because you're actually letting them know what you're doing that they're paying for. And
yeah.
I also want to let people know too, it's not over communication in the sense where, like, because there's a fine line between over communicating and making it feel like you're now working a job for the client. It's not what it is at all. First off, that's why you have that buffer of that customer success manager. But more importantly, the customer success manager is just letting them know things like, hey, it's especially more important to me, in my opinion, in the first month more than anything else, but always continuing too. But in that first month, hey, just so you know, we went ahead and finished setting up all of the, let's say ClickUp files that we have for you, or whatever platform you use, or whatever it is, just letting them know things that are being worked on the back end, so they understand, hey, this person isn't just sitting around and doing some code thing or whatever in Google, because once again, in their mind, it's just magic to get me ranked to number one. No, these people are actually doing things, and they have a team member communicating with me. And most of the time, to be honest with you, the clients will just straight up eventually ignore most of what the customer success manager has, which is fine. But to me, it's perfect because they can never say they didn't understand what was happening. They can never say, I don't know what's happening on my account. They can never say, hey, I don't know what I'm paying you for, because those are some of the worst conversations to have, where you feel like you need to explain your role and explain what it is you do. And that's what a lot of these agency owners were doing. They were having to explain to clients who were looking to leave, oh, well, we did this and we got you ranked number one, and we did X, Y, and Z, and we built these backlinks, and we did this and we did that. And the client is like, well, why haven't you ever told me that? So it becomes a thing where it's like, well, if you're letting them know every now and then, and also it's like, it's super important. Like, I don't understand why most agencies don't let their customers know when a Google algorithm update has rolled out. Most of the time, people just don't communicate it. And it doesn't make sense to me. Like, the minute I see an algorithm is rolling out and it's news everywhere and it's been verified that it's rolling out, I'm literally sending an email to all the clients letting them know, hey guys, this algorithm is rolling out. Here's the information we know so far. I'm citing some reputable sources, so you can go ahead and check it out as well. Once we know more information, we'll let you know. But just so you understand, your account is in good hands because we're at the forefront of this information. It also makes them feel secure, because then they understand, hey, this person or this agency is paying attention to what's happening in Google day by day, so that way they're on top of it. Whereas my last agency I worked with didn't do it. Or, hey, the next agency, I don't even need to worry about a next agency because these guys are on top of it. So it's about just communicating with them and letting them understand. Like, I think we take for granted the knowledge that we have, like most people do in their own individual fields. Like, a chemist is going to take for granted the stuff he does, but when he explains it to me, it sounds like he's literally pulling a rabbit out of a hat. It's magic to me. It's super cool. But to him, it's not. We need to kind of understand it's the same thing with our clients. Like, to them, they don't really understand what we do and why we do it. They just know, hey, I need more customers. You're the person to pay for this. Please give me more customers. But I want them to actually understand what's happening, what we're on top of, how hard we're working, and all the different things we're doing. Does that make sense?
Love it. Love it. Yes, it does. And Brian says, this is awesome because these are things no one talks about in our industry. And that's so true. I mean, you're dropping some serious knowledge bombs here. And which is, I'm curious, because you said you would get a customer success manager to maybe manage like 3 to 4 clients, right? So like, when would you actually bring in your first customer success manager as like, because I know consultants, like me as a consultant, I do everything myself, right? Like, I'm doing everything myself, but there's going to come a point where I'm going to have to turn into an agency. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is get that customer success manager. So I'm thinking like, when's the perfect time to get that customer success manager?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, everyone should have a customer success manager, even if you have one client. And the reason for that is because it's not that expensive. I use VAs, and everyone has different opinions on where they hire their VAs. In my opinion, I get all my VAs from the Philippines, all phenomenal, amazing people. Yeah. So all of my VAs are from, yeah, of course, but it's the truth. All of my VAs are from the Philippines, and as you know, like, English is spoken very well there. So it's also something that I don't need to worry about when I'm hiring offshore. And more often than not, I also find a lot of Filipinos to be respectful and to care a lot about their work.
Yep. And
that's not to say it can't take place in any other country. This is just my own experience off of the VAs I've hired. And You can get someone based in the States too, but that's obviously going to cost you way more money. So if you have one client, that obviously doesn't make any sense. But if you have a couple of clients, maybe it does. But even for me, with a bunch of clients, they're all VAs. And, you know, the amount of money that you're paying them, you pay them a fair wage for them to live a great life in the Philippines, but it's not much compared to what you're making from the client to begin with. It's a small investment. And that investment ROI is paid a million times over. I mean, if you think about it, if you implemented a customer success manager and you were able to keep a client for even one more month, that extra month of what you earned versus what you paid that customer success manager, there is no real comparison between the two. You know what I mean? So the ROI is always there.
Yes. Make that money. All right. So, okay. I mean, okay. Let's go on to what you have next for us, because I mean, guys, if in the audience, if you have any questions, please ask them in the live chat, and I will try to sneak them in when we get a breather, because there's so much knowledge dropping here. Wait, what time is it? Oh, good Lord, we're almost coming close. We have a few more minutes here. So, okay. So we have a customer success manager, and then like the processes and systems, right? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So the entire process and the whole system, the way it works is I give a timeline of 6 months. I want a goal of half a year to turn everything around within the agency. Okay. So the very first month is, once again, like I mentioned, me going in, analyzing everything, seeing where the pain points are. At the same time, the agency is hiring and looking for a customer success manager, because we want to have them enrolled in month number 2. Yeah. And month number 2 is really where we get cooking. The entire onboarding system and customer success management team have been trained by now. So in that first month, I'm spending time with some of these customer success managers. So are other people that are in the agency, whoever is like the owner, for example. We're spending time with them, kind of letting them know exactly what the messaging is. And then we start to laser focus on the customer success managers' interactions and timelines and touch points. Then I also begin something in month 2 called the customer success newsletter. This is something I spoke about at spring training that every person that I spoke to told me they never heard of it before, which for me was great to hear. But if there is something else that exists like this, great. I just never heard of it before I implement it. But pretty much it's a newsletter that I enroll every single client. And even if the client ends up leaving, I don't unsubscribe them unless they ask me to unsubscribe them. And in this newsletter, it's literally just updates happening in our industry. So like I mentioned, if there's a new Google update that rolls out, I'll send them that newsletter and let them know, hey, this update is rolling out. There have been clients of my own or former clients that now became clients again. And there have also been, for the agencies, clients that have left them and have come back because of this newsletter as well. Because they'll leave, join a new agency, and as they're getting these newsletters and hearing about a Google update rolling out, and their current new agency hasn't told them anything about this update, they're like, well, wait a minute. My last agency is on top of all this. They understand the algorithm update rolled out. That's why my rankings tank. And my current SEO agency hasn't told me anything about why my rankings are tanking. Do these guys even know what the hell's going on? Let me go back to where I was before. So it also has that added benefit too. So in that newsletter, we update them on everything that's going on Google-wise. The customer success manager themselves tells them about their account, and that happens inside of Slack and email communications. But this newsletter specifically is just on updates in the industry overall, just to keep them well informed of what's happening.
Love that. And then this is, again, this is, you just add them to just your own email box, and they all will get this general email. And so like, oh, I never thought of that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
you just add them to any autoresponder you want, and then you just, send it out when something new rolls out. And you can even make it even easier. Like, one of the things I do is I'll take, like, let's say a new search engine land article comes out. Grab the article, throw it in ChatGPT, summarize the most important bullet points for me, make it really nice for email newsletter. Copy, paste it, boom, it's good to go, as long as you proofread it, obviously. And it just makes it look oftentimes even nicer. And it's just something you're able to send away to the client, get it done quickly. A VA can handle it, as I mentioned, because it's literally copying, pasting in ChatGPT, proofreading, and that's really it.
Love that. And how often do you send the newsletter out? Just once a month?
Yeah, so we do bare minimum once a month. But as you know, there may be a month where a couple crazy things happen in Google, for example. If there is a month like that, which is rare, but if there is a month where, let's say, an update rolls out and there's a lot of shifts, and then their update finishes and there's even more shifts, we'll send 2 emails just to keep them updated on what's going on in the industry. And it's almost always great for us because our clients don't really see much fluctuation because of the type of SEO that we do. And because of that, once they're seeing that everyone in the industry is freaking out over some updates and they didn't even need to worry about it, but they hear, from their competitors. Other competitors are freaking out. They see their competitors dropping. For them, it makes them feel even better about why they're working with either us or the agencies that I've helped implement this.
Love it. Dropping all these knowledge bombs. Okay, let's talk about, we have a few more minutes here. And guys, if you want to ask some questions, go ahead and ask them in the live chat before we ask my last few questions here. So long-term retention strategies. Let's talk about once you got your customer success, your continuous customer success training, onboarding, what continuous improvements should we be doing to create more long-term retention?
Yeah, so if we're talking beyond your communication with the clients, which once again is the most important thing, then the next important thing is the results. Because no matter how much communication you have with them or anything else you do after that, nothing else matters other than results. So for me, the next important thing, which a lot of people I feel like also don't spend enough time on, is sharpening your sword, right? Like there's so many people I've met over the years where they'll learn SEO, they'll do great, an algorithm or two will roll out, stuff has changed in SEO, right? Stuff's changed a lot in the past couple of years, especially now with AI, and people don't stay up to date. So a lot of their techniques get outdated. So just reinvesting in either yourself or the people who work for you in your agency, making sure that they're up to date. That's also another thing I noticed in a lot of agencies is they were doing sometimes outdated type of techniques from, hey, well, that worked a year ago, but here's a better way of doing it too. So just making sure you're, attending conferences, that you're paying attention to the news, especially like you did right here at the beginning of the show. You updated everyone on news that's happening right now and across our industry. Like obviously subscribing, right? Watching your show, staying up to date on all the different things that are happening. It's important. So for me, that's the second most important thing, is making sure that everyone on your team that's in charge of marketing is always up to date on all the things happening in marketing, whether that be going to conferences, whether it be signing up for new courses. Like, some people won't ever sign up for a new course of anything because they're like, oh, I know it all already. That's the wrong way to think, in my opinion. I've met so many people who think that way. I'll sign up for every new course that I can whenever I see it, if it makes sense. And maybe, sometimes 10% of it was useful to me. But that 1 to 10% is going to give me an edge over all my competitors. So just keeping your sword sharp, so to speak.
Love that. And one thing that I want to talk about too, like when you're creating like this system, is there any like tools that you're using, or like, is it all just done in spreadsheets? Like how are you like kind of executing and having it done for these agencies that you're working with?
Yeah, so Slack is a big one because that's where the customer success manager is communicating with the client in the first place. And also where I'm communicating with the customer success managers and of course everyone else on the team. So Slack for sure is bare minimum, one of the most important ones. And also Notion. For me, I keep my entire life organized in Notion. Like everything that I do is all on Notion, whether it be business wise, whether it be personal. I came across a gentleman named Thomas Frank years ago. He has a YouTube channel where all he focuses on is Notion stuff. And he actually created something where it's called like your second brain. So that way it'll retain every single thing that you want it to retain in there. Meaning like in there, I have a folder that's literally for every client I've ever had and all the information that pertains to them. So if I ever need to recall something, I just do a search in Notion. It'll pull up that specific page, or it'll pull up that specific sentence. It'll pull up anything for me. I don't need to necessarily remember everything, but more importantly, I can also stay organized, because I'll have communications with people in their agency, and let's say these customer success managers, and let's say 3 months pass and something comes up. I need to reference something 3 months ago. I don't know about you, but my memory is not that great anymore, especially as I get older. So Notion for me has been the biggest game changer, and it's also been the biggest tool that I use to stay organized, communicating with all these agencies and everything else besides Slack. So I'd have to say those two would be the most important tools to answer your question.
Love that. And one last tip I want to ask about is when you are looking for customer success managers, like on for the Philippines, like what are some of your interview questions? What does that right person look like? Just so we can go. I'm pretty sure maybe you found some horrible customer success managers, or So I'm curious, what are you looking for, and like what should we be looking for if we want to hire that person ourselves?
Yeah, so overwhelmingly across all the agencies that I've helped hire them, and even the ones I've hired myself, the two main sources of hiring them is onlinejobs.ph and Upwork, first and foremost. Those two we've had the most success with. Onlinejobs.ph even more than Upwork, but I do like to give people a second option as well. And with that, it's more about like the first interview questions that you have with them. Like for me, since I've done so much interviews back in the day when I used to work at H&M and being a manager for all these retail stores, I can kind of get a good feel for how, like, for us in retail, we're looking for people that are going to be friendly and can also handle stress. And I apply those exact same signs that I'm looking for when these interviews are being produced as well. So for me, it's questions, to me, they're basic questions, maybe not to everyone else watching, but to me, it's stuff like, can you tell me about a time where you went through a difficult situation in your last job? And that gets them thinking. And it'll also tell, while they're talking about it, I can see a couple of things. I can see A, what the issue was, B, how they handled the issue, which is most important, and C, sometimes if it sounds like they're going to be a problem themselves. Because you will run into people who will say, oh no, everything went fine at my last job. Well, if that's the case, then why do you leave, right? Because you do have people who are, you also have people who are like professional interviewers, right? Like they're great at interviews, but coming to do the job is not great. But I think if you're fine tuning everything and your processes when you're interviewing and getting those questions in, it's the most important thing. So asking questions like that to me are super important. Also giving them scenarios. I'll just straight up say, hey, what would you do in this scenario? If you had a client that was visibly frustrated and was asking, what am I even paying for? Super aggravated. How would you handle this? How would you help this client feel better about the whole entire situation? And for me, it's really important to ask these questions to them also on Zoom, because you can see their facial expressions. You can see if they get flustered. You can see how long it takes them to react and answer questions. And it's just like doing, an interview rather for any other job, where you need to look at them like they need to be able to answer these questions and do very, very well at it, because they're not just like a extraordinary VA. They're super important in my mind because they're dealing with the money. These are the people that are talking to the client. These are the people that are going to be responsible if I keep my client an extra month or more. Obviously, I can handle it myself, but if I'm going to entrust someone, they need to meet that criteria. So it's really just stress testing them. Also, I really also like to do, so I know people do like the DISC assessment to kind of figure out people's personalities, right? Okay. So the DISC assessment is helpful. I also do something called 16 personalities. It's another one. Okay. That one breaks down people's personalities a little bit more. And then you can kind of see based on their test results, how you might be able to use them for customer success manager, or maybe they're just the type of personality where they need to be in charge of things all the time. And that lets you know, well, they might be combative if a customer comes in super aggressive. Maybe they're not the right fit. Maybe they're the right fit, or maybe they're the right fit for like the client that we have that's super quiet and doesn't really get back to us. That way they can be on top of the client to get back to us. So just those kind of strategies to answer your question. Hopefully that was helpful.
Oh, that was very, very helpful. And we had James Slatter here who was on last week, which I was talking about. This is a great back-to-back episode, because he was talking about selling prospecting, and today we're talking about client retention and systems. So this is a great, these two episodes. Great. He says, what's up in the live chat? We have Trance here, says, this is John Mueller in a fake persona. And now that I know Gregory's tricks, I'm changing the algorithm. So that's what Trance from Canada.
That's funny.
All right, guys.
Imagine full as John Mueller.
Yep. So I'm gonna say, we're at time here, guys. So I'll go ahead and let you. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask it, because I'm gonna ask my last question. Is the last question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. Is if someone wants to get into the SEO game, become an SEO professional themselves, what would your one tip be for them?
One tip specifically, if they wanted to get into it, I would say take massive action. That would be my biggest thing. Because you have so many people that will get into the industry and they'll get analysis paralysis, or they'll just keep learning and learning, or they won't actually go out and do it. For me personally, that was my biggest success. I can just say I was desperate, like a trapped animal in a corner where I'm like, I need to actually take action immediately. So I watched training videos, and that first month I already had the website built. I was already throwing PBN links at it. I was already ranking it within the first month. So taking that massive action will give you the most success. Plus, it also grows exponentially. The quicker you take action, the bigger results you're going to have down the line too.
Yep. Loved it. I didn't see anyone sneak a question in here, so I want to, for this episode to feel complete for you, any last comments, and how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So first off, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was super awesome being on here. And as far as getting in contact with me, the best way, I mean, I'm kind of old school, and my son laughs at me, calls me old man now. But the best way to do it would be through Facebook. Facebook is probably, I know for the younger people, it's now Facebook, right? But for me, the best way to contact me is Facebook. That's where I'm easily reachable when it comes to anything business related is on Facebook. If for some reason you are like banned on Facebook or can't reach out at all on Facebook whatsoever, you can try on X. I'm not really active there much. I'm more of someone who just goes there just to read stuff. I don't really participate much, but you can still communicate with me there. But Facebook will be the play. So
Love it. Everyone, let's give a round of applause.
thank you.
All right. Gregory, can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? Hold on for one quick second.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit on that notification bell. And don't forget to visit our sponsors, SEOnitro.com and search-intelligence.co.uk. Till next time, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe.
See y'all next week.